Yeah, I'm afraid.
Oh, not quite. There's some differences of opinion as to when we start at 7 and 7:30.
I don't remember what I was told.
You don't remember what you were told for what, time?
Give you 10 minutes. That works fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Got another 11,500. Clock start. We're all there, so. I mean, I'm expecting this other group. Maybe they thought it was 7:30.
Well, that's just,
Yeah, next up. What we're going to do is a couple of things. We're going to first do an introduction. Steve's just going to briefly tell what he has for a handout, and then we'll get a brief overview of 15 minutes.
that's great, thanks.
Okay. All right, Seth, you ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for coming this evening to this public meeting, public hearing that F.U.M.P is having. Again, this will be the last public hearing that we'll have before October town meeting. And what we're again hoping to do is just clarify exactly what is going to be presented at the October town meeting and the November ballot question. Additionally, we hope to again, take any additional public input which may be offered, answer any questions, dispel any untruths, and hopefully continue to lay the facts out on the table as to why this particular plan was arrived at, how it was derived, and exactly why you're being presented with this particular package. If you recall, F.U.M.P was charged with the responsibility of putting together a plan, master plan for the town, looking forward for approximately the next 25 years or more. For the last 2.5 years, we have spent a significant amount of time and energy, and the committee is made up of most of the chairs and vice chairs of every elected and appointed board, commission, and committee in the community, as well as the town administrator and superintendent of schools. In addition to that, we called upon our resources in the form of professional development team people, engineers, DPW director, finance director, and a whole host of other people that we can count on. Our architects that we've had develop the plans, the architects that have developed plans in the past and who will be developing them in the future, have all been called upon to help us derive the most realistic numbers so that what we're presenting to you is exactly the most up-to-date numbers that we have. Again, just to cover what will be asked of you at the October town meeting, is we're going to be asking for appropriation of funds, which will be subject to debt exclusion in the November ballot for the construction of a new elementary school at the Swan Pond site, construction of a new police station behind the Murphy Center off of North Street. Again, the schematic designs for the additions and renovations to the middle school, high school, and the bachelor school for reuse as municipal purposes. And the reuse of the bachelor school is a two-edged sword here as far as what we're going to do. The initial decision has been by F.U.M.P to recommend that we retain it for municipal use. Two options are being presented Both include the school administration being moved to that facility. The other additional uses of that building would be either for public meeting space and leave town hall where it is, or move the town hall over to the Bachelor School site when we make the renovations. We will not know what the exact cost of those particular plans will be until we have the schematic designs in hand. And that is why F.U.M.P has decided to put together this proposal, which is comprehensive and is a package deal. But as far as what we're looking to do and how the money is going to be appropriated, it will be appropriated, again, on a gradual basis so that we can have the most recent numbers and effective numbers to do the projects moving forward. But everything is intertwined. It is a package deal. It is comprehensive, and it is what we believe to be the most cost-effective way to meet the needs of our community looking down the road for the next 25 years. In addition to the plans, which will not be included in the October town meeting, is there will be plans for expansion of the DPW site, which is going to be needed, but we felt as though that is at least 5 years out. We can wait to put that off. And to minimize the cost impact and the tax impact on the taxpayers, we're looking to phase in these projects over a period of time that has a minimal amount of effect on your tax dollars and on your tax rate. So those projects that we could put out, we put them out as far as we can. Again, the two most immediate needs that were identified were the police station and the new elementary school. Those were the two areas of concern which F.U.M.P was unanimous in recognizing and pinpointing as the most immediate needs and had to be addressed immediately. And that's what's going to be proposed in October. The format for this evening is initially, if you could bear with us, we'd appreciate it. What we're going to do is we have a handout. If you have one already, that's terrific. We'll get another one to you if you don't. We'll get the handout to you. What it does is it goes through a few questions and answers. Some of them are rather obvious. Some of them are not so obvious. Explains the thought process and what we did in arriving at the conclusions that we did, in addition to looking at the different scenarios that F.U.M.P undertook in making our recommendation. So that's just good information for you to look at and go through. Steve Jervy will explain what that is. Additionally, we have a PowerPoint presentation which is going to take approximately 15 minutes, and we're going to run through that again just to reinforce exactly what the process was, what we looked at, and how we came to the conclusion that we did. After that is done, again, we'll open it up for discussion, questions, and hopefully we can clarify any questions that anybody might have. Additionally, we were made aware just a couple of nights ago that there's a group of individuals within the community who were looking to put forth some sort of an alternative plan. Again, F.U.M.P looks forward to taking a look at it, viewing it, again, responding to it, and embracing it if it's worthwhile. But to date, again, they've been invited to come this evening and present it to us. To date, we've seen nothing. There's been no proposal put forth to F.U.M.P. Again, all of our meetings have been open and public over the last 2.5 years. And again, over the last 2 days, we hear that there's another proposal coming forth, which will be put forth at town meeting for consideration, fully within their right to do so. We encourage them to do so, but we had hoped that we would have some sort of a time frame to take a look at it, maybe incorporate some of the suggestions that they have. I find it hard to believe there might be some suggestions that we didn't consider, because we had a pretty diverse group of people represented on this board, on this committee, and I think we undertook most every scenario that anybody could come up with. So, you know, if they come this evening and want to put it forth, we'll be happy to take a look at it and take their comments, and we would encourage them to come here and do that. And we look forward to that dialogue, because we think it's important. So with that, what I'd like to do is just turn it over briefly to Steve Jervy to explain what we have in the way of a handout, and then I'll turn it over to Howard Solomon for a brief PowerPoint presentation.
Actually, I don't need much time. The handout that I've prepared here, the first 2 pages are actually from primer that has appeared in the transcript the last 2 weeks. The 3rd page is the one that's being printed tonight, probably as we speak. The 4th and 5th pages are a draft of one that may appear next week, but it hasn't been reviewed by the rest of the people in the committee. Then the last 4 pages are here to show you the different scenarios that we did look at. You'll see we broke the project up into, I guess it's 17 possible pieces, different combinations of those possible pieces. They're lettered A through Q. And there were needs that we had to meet. School space, both elementary and secondary, police space, DPW space, community meeting space. And there were many options about how to do this. And we have roughly 3 full pages of scenarios, numbered A, 1A, 2, 2A, 3, 3A, they're different variants. And you can look at them, and you can see how many different scenarios we evaluated over the course of this project. Now, I would caution you that the numbers that are in here are old numbers. They were the first numbers we were working with. They were used as a basis for eliminating some of the scenarios. Most of the dollar values have been updated since then. Some of them we never bothered to update because those scenarios didn't make sense to us when we looked at them. But if you don't get hung up on those dollar values because they have changed, but look at this to see what scenarios we evaluated and what the pros and cons were. There were notes over on the right, problems with different scenarios. And those problems, unfortunately, to save myself time and space, I only listed the first time that that particular option occurred. So you might want to start with scenario 1 and start looking at the problems that existed for different kinds of issues. When we were all done, we came up with proposals. And I think Howard is going to start going over some of the questions and answers that the first 4 or 5 pages kind of include, but they've got a better presentation, a different presentation.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, just before we get to Howard, I just wanted to point out, I neglected to tell you exactly what the numbers that are pretty close to what the numbers are going to be at town meeting as to what's going to be presented. What we have is for the school number at this particular juncture, and again, these are pretty close, it's $11,973,000 plus $105,000, which are off-site improvements for Hannah Graves Way, which will take in the utilities and be the major access road and are not subject to reimbursement. So $105,000 of the number is not subject to the reimbursement level because it's an off-site improvement. The police station is going to be $5,021,000. And that, if you recall, the police station, when that was proposed about 3 years ago, it was $3.6 million. That same proposal came in at 5.8 when the numbers were updated. And again, Police Station Study Committee as well as the School Building Committee have gone back and reworked the numbers and come up with these final numbers. So it's from 5.8 down to the 5,021,000. So we've got 11,973,000 for the school, 5,021,000 for the police station, and $450,000 for the schematic designs for the middle school, high school, and bachelor's school renovations. So that's what we're looking at in the way of numbers at the October town meeting, and again for the debt exclusion vote in November.
Steve,
Mr. Barletta.
Just to bring in the total cost, with interest, it would be $8,184,000 for the police station.
Right. But what we're going to do is, after the presentation, we'll also have a brief presentation as to what we believe with the latest numbers, what the impact is going to be on an average household per 100,000, so people can do their own calculations as to when these projects kick in along a timeline which we've worked out to be what we think to be in the town's best interest, and can put them off as far as we can in order to mitigate the impact on your tax rate and on your tax bill. But at this particular time, if you bear with us, Howard will go through a brief presentation, about 15 minutes worth, and hopefully it'll be enlightening, and then we'll go back and take your questions and comments.
Thanks, Steve. Move this over to the microphone, I guess. So what I'd like, actually, can I just hold this?
Sure, you can.
That'll be easier. If people don't mind, what I'd like to do is go through the entire presentation for continuity's sake. And what we can do is at the end of it, we can stop, go back to any of the slides people are interested in, talk about any pieces of it that they want. I'm not trying to rush it. I just want to cover it in its entirety. What Trish and I did over the last couple of days was to distill down everything that went into